Okay, today's video we're going to talk about YouTube ads. Basically, what type of ads work the best on YouTube. If you're kind of we're wondering if the in-stream ads actually work better than the in-feed ads. So there's two different types of ads on YouTube. Those are the two main categories. In feed means the video ads they're still video ads, show up on the sidebar there, or in another place on YouTube on like the home page where you have to see the video there and you click on it. So basically it looks like another video in the search results or what have you. Or you have the in-stream ads, which are the videos that show up in the middle of watching another video. It pops up, the video, then you have to click skip. Which ones of those two actually are the better deal if you have so much money to spend on ads starting out? And with that, there's also another thing that you have to decide if you're going to run just the regular ads, or you're going to run or in other words, you call them skippable ads. So going back to the skip button, are you going to run ads that are longer than 15 seconds, which automatically makes it a skippable in-stream ad, in which people can click the skip button and close your ad down and go back to the video that they were watching, in which it pops up during the video. Or non-skippable, another way to word these is a bumper ad, which are less than 15 seconds. Which of those actually works best for most type of businesses? And for practical purposes, there is no one size fits all for everybody, but there practically is. I try to give people the one size fits all solution that'll work for 80-90% of people pretty well. And if you're going to start out anywhere, this is where you start out. And there's a few variants in here I'll give you, so you pretty much walk away from this video knowing which of these ad types, the in-stream or in-feed or bumper, or you do want the skippable or unskippable ads, which ones you should start with, probably will make money with, and then you could go on to trying some more testing on some more outside the box things, like I always encourage you to do anyway. We're always trying to, the goal always is, how do I get the profitability with my ads as quickly as possible? Because once I do that, I can use part of the profit that I make there to test more speculative things out that take some runway, or more runway in general, and are more, just not the tried and true, and then get some aspect of that to work, as it doesn't work at 50 cents a click, but it'll work at 10 cents a click, like I've mentioned on a lot of other videos, and then you move on to the next thing, and you stack your gains with other traffic sources on Google by the many different ads they have there, or other ad platforms. And that's how you start out with an account that spends $1,000 a month, and you get to where account or PPC program that spends $100,000 a month. Stepping it up one step at a time. And we always start out with the most tried and true, highest return for your effort up front, and then you go up the more speculative and the harder stuff to get to work later on. So anyway, I said enough about that. Here's where I would start out with then for most people that pretty much makes money every time, like I said. There is no one size fits all here, but this is what I use for 90% of the projects. So I've broken it up to where, are you a huge company or you're not a huge company, respectively, and if you're going to be this is for driving new traffic in from a video ad, or you're going to be marketing to people who you've already got to your site at least once, what you should do in those particular situations, since those are the big deciders that decide which ad you're going to use versus the other ads that I mentioned, in-stream or in-feed or skippable or non-skippable. So starting out with the non-huge company, and to define this more specifically, because I know you're saying, Corey, what the heck is a non-huge company? That would be like a company that's not doing more than you're 10 million or less, or if to be more practical about it, would be like 100 million in sales per year if you're there or more, then you don't fit this non-huge company category. Okay, so if you're doing less than 100 million in sales a year, I call you a non-huge company, at least for practical purposes of this tutorial I'm giving you here. So if you're less than 100 million a year in sales, and you're trying to drive new traffic in that have not been to your site. So some people call these prospecting campaigns. I just call it first click, which is it's just anything that's not remarketing, or we're trying to get them to our site for the first time here. so that they get interested in our product or service, and we can get them interested in buying it. So if you're driving new traffic in then, and you're not a huge company, I'm almost every single time going to go for skippable in-stream. Those are the ads that are more than 15 seconds again, and what you can click the skip button and get past. Respectively, if they click the skip button, you don't have to pay. But one thing you got to keep in mind, if a lot of people are clicking skip and it's really an unengaging ad, you're going to end up paying more per click and more per view anyway, because Google's going to ding you. They want ads that people will click on. So it doesn't matter if you're doing pay-per-view or pay-per-click there, respectively, especially with pay-per-click, your cost per click or cost per lead, if you go with that kind of bidding, target CPA bidding, your actual cost that you're paying to get each click from your video to your site will go up a lot if you're not getting too many people that go and actually watch your ad all the way through and are clicking skip more than the average person, because Google is trying to sell that ad space to the person that's doing the most efficient job. And so if the ad doesn't get your attention right away and people are clicking skip, they charge you more, because basically they want to get the same amount of money from that ad space regardless of who is advertising on it. So just like any other ad, Facebook ad, Google Display Network, they all work the same way. The more click-through rate you can get on your ad, in this case, it's how many people will watch the ad all the way, the lower the cost per click is going to be, because basically you're paying for the ad space regardless or however you slice it. So you want an ad that's going to get to where people will actually watch it, because you're not going to be able to say, and just be lazy about it. That's a requirement to make these ads work. But with an in-stream ad, skippable in-stream ad, you can actually do more than 15 seconds. There's actually no limit, basically, how long it can be. If you want a 30-minute ad, you can do a 30-minute ad. It can be an infomercial if you want. For me, though, the sweet spot on those ads for most companies is going to be a video that's 1 to 2 minutes long. Why 1 to 2 minutes? Well, if it's too much longer than that, respectively, you can't get to your point, which is, at the end of the video, you always got to have your call to action to ask them to come to your site. And if it's too long, you'll never get to that for most people. If it's too short, there's not enough time in there to actually get your whole point across as to what you're trying to get, why they should buy your product or service. I know for the longest time, the standard for like TV advertising has been a 30-second ad. And you can get a lot done in 30 seconds, but you really, really can't get that much into something in 30 seconds. In a couple minutes, you can go through a pretty good tutorial about why your product is good, why it's good, how it can solve a problem for the user. And it's not going to be enough to where it gets the general point across and you can get them to your site. And the most people will click to go to your site from that, if you will. So there's a video I have just about a script format or template, a script template for YouTube videos. If you want to be able to get into YouTube advertising and make money right away, watch that video and make an ad surrounding that. It has pretty much something that works every single time. One thing I say on there is do a video of a minute or two. That's kind of the sweet spot in there, okay? And it walks you all the way through how to set up an ad for your business on a tried and true system or formula that you can start using today. Apart from that, so that's if you've got first click advertising. If you're a huge company and you're trying to drive new traffic in from a video ad, I'm going to use a non-skippable in-stream or bumper ad. So those are the ads where you can't skip, but they're also less than 15 seconds. Why do I do that? It gets top of mind awareness in a primary demographic that I have. So in other words, if you're doing a wide, advertising to a large market, you sell cookies, you sell, branded furniture, whatever it is. Respectively, some people out there in the market's probably heard of you before, and you'll see other people doing this. All you have to do in that case, or what you're trying to do, is get top of mind awareness. So you still target your video if you're IKEA and you want people to buy furniture, you target people who are, either customers before or are interested in like having their house nice. You have to still dial it in. and then you just put out there an ad about IKEA furniture, like how cool and hip it is, but there isn't a direct call to action there, with the idea that once you find out what that demographic is, you know, female 45 plus who owns a home and has this much income, you hit that whole demographic with your bumper ad, which is a 15-second or less ad there, and you just keep it at the top of their mind, you know, ultimately that your product is the product that they want. If they're going to buy from your category, you're the one that they buy it from. So a lot of times you'll see, getting a little bit off topic here, but for like cologne, perfume, clothing, one thing you'll always see in those ads, and you're wondering why they do that, they'll have the person wearing the clothes or a picture of that person with a girl that they're getting or whatever, if it's a cologne. Why do they do that? Because they understand that at some point somebody's going to be buying that, and they know pretty much who buys it, so they're just getting that, and that's what they do. They get you to visualize, that would be cool if I bought that, even though they know you're not going to buy it right then. The idea is they give you the feeling that you're going to get XYZ, you know, results. I'm going to get the girl, I'm going to get the guy. Oh, it's going to give me a sugar rush, whatever it is. And then basically when I'm in the store next time, I go past the cookie aisle. You've done your work ahead of time to get them to buy the cookie. So this is the formula that I use. I'm not going for, you know, from IKEA. We got all these different IKEA couches on sale. Come in the store and buy one, because it kind of cheapens the brand, if you will, versus trying to make yourself look like the top brand. And they're willing to pay more. And when they go to buy, you've already got the sale anyway. Whereas if you're going to add them with a promotion like that, as I described, where like 10% off couches, they're probably not going to buy a couch that weekend anyway. It's kind of like the car lot advertisements where they're trying to sell new cars. If I'm not going to buy a new car, I'm not going to just decide to go and buy a new car, you know, on a whim like that. What they should be doing is doing more so of what I said, and going after people who are in market for a car. But if I'm if I'm Ford, I'm going to talk about how cool the Ford cars are. I'm not going to talk about maybe a little bit like 0% financing, but just making sure that I'm the cool choice. It's about being the cool, being the desired brand there. Once you get to that stage, 100 million plus. Anyway, that's for first click traffic. Now for remarketing, if you're a non-huge company, again, less than 100 million a year in sales, I'm going to use still skippable in-stream ads. Why? We can keep showing further reasons why the product or service is so great in those ads, and it'll make anything we use to drive them, to get them to our site in the first place, work more, and we can capitalize on it more. So one thing you'll see on my other videos, I talk about remarketing in general. When you're talking about banner ads, you know, the ads that show up on the site of different websites or what have you, that are not video ads, I'll have a whole series of ads that rotate out for the user that finish convincing the user why they should trust us. We're not a huge company, so it's harder to get the trust as IKEA. They don't need to do that. So I'll have a testimonial that'll show up for the user on a banner ad one day. The next day they're looking at, you know, the news site that they go to again, and they see another testimonial. Then the next day they see a product test that we did. Then the next day they see an ad that points to a influencer on YouTube that reviewed the product, but it's a banner ad that points them to the video. Then the next day it shows what reviews we got on Google. Then the next day it shows a product by product comparison where you've tested physically, torture tested the product against the competition to show why it's superior. And so what you're doing is all the things that a person, when they go to your sales department and ask questions about, you're going to make an ad for each one of those concerns, so that after they go to the site, as they're browsing around the web, no matter what, they're going to see your ads, and they can see all the things that would, I call it draining the objections. The objections that they had, you're draining them all in the course of these ads that can show up, which they'll for sure see, because any place that has a banner ad on it, pretty much you're going to be able to get on it through Google Display Network remarketing, and that will convince the user so that eventually when they make the purchase, if they make the purchase in that category of what you sell, you've become the default choice. You've, again, done the work or the homework and the execution of what you need to get that user to buy, so that when they 2 weeks later, a month later, after they initially were on your site and they were just in the informational stage, or they were at the stage where they're going to buy soon, but they weren't going to buy today, because rarely do they buy instantly. Sometimes they do, but a lot more don't. That you're going to, instead of giving up on them, you're going to make sure that you're the number one choice 2 weeks later when they say, oh crap, I have to buy what I was going to look for today, or was looking for 2 weeks ago, I have to buy it today. You become the initial one that they think of right away, therefore they're buying from you, versus you wouldn't have had that half or more of the times if you haven't done that. But also, instead of just the banner ads, I'll do video ads, because people are using YouTube more and more. We can do more with a video ad than we can with a banner ad. With the banner ad, you can send people to an article or a page on your site that has extended content. With the video ad, all the content can be in the ad, which is nice. I can have that video ad ultimately show up on, on what they call YouTube Outstream, so it can show up on other websites too anymore. I can have that video show up on Facebook as a video ad there. I'll use it in all these places, but I'll use a skippable Instream ad on Google, and I'm going to show a product demonstration showing the product has durability, good high durability as compared to our competition. All the same things I mentioned before. I'll have a video testimonial show up for a user, and they're just bombarded with all this positive information as they're on YouTube. 10 different video ads that have different reasons why you'd be stupid not to, buy from us if you're going to buy at all, in the video ads, and rotate out for the user. So one day they see one, you can actually have it to where if they've been to your site, they can, of those 5 or 10 video ads that you have set up, you're guaranteed that they'll see at least each one or two times. And then, of course, that goes into getting much higher rates of purchase of any advertising that you use to get them into your site in the first place than you would have got otherwise. So you could think of PPC as a whole like a sales funnel. You want to grease shoot. You do a lot of research to find out the exact person who buys and is going to be most likely to buy based upon what they're searching for at the time, and then you send them to the site, and then that's just when the process starts. Even if your site has all the information on it, a lot of people don't read it all at the time, and they click back and they're just, they're antsy, or they're jumpy, if you will. And then all your banner ads and all your video ads show up for the person on YouTube if they go to YouTube, on Facebook if they go to Facebook, and it's going to work on them over time. So that buffer period from the time that they're initially just thinking about buying, I'm going to remodel my kitchen, but I'm not going to actually get the guts to do it till 2 months from now. There's only one choice that they could make it, and it's us, because our competition is not remarketing to them. And if they are, they're just pounding them over the head with one message saying, buy from us now, whereas we've actually educated them, which helps the user make the decision. And with the skippable in-stream ads, while I'm not doing a bumper ad, which you can do bumper ads, but I want to, in these ads, actually educate the buyer. I want to say, you should buy from us, and here is why. So if you have a testimonial, you do a video testimonial, and it goes into a 1-2 minute video that explains that process that the user went through, what they experienced, how it started, how it finished, all of it. And then if I'm going to show off my Google reviews and my Yelp reviews and stuff like that in a video ad, I'm going to talk about, I'm still wondering who you're going to hire for a kitchen remodeling job this fall. Well, you should check out us, because we have Google reviews, Yelp reviews. We actually have great reviews on Angie's List, and I'm going to go into a 1 or 2 minute video, because if the person's interested, a 30-second video is just not going to do as good as pounding them with a 2 minute video. I just know this because we tested it both ways, and even for the remarketing, you don't want a just 15-second blurb. That stuff's good for keeping top of mind only, not to be selling the person, and they need more information. If you're going to, you can, through the repetition, you can get people to buy from you more frequently than they would otherwise when you're remarketing to them. But it works much, much better if you have frequency and compelling reasons to act built within it, so they know why exactly they're going to be buying from you more than anybody else. And that actually goes to register deeper in their mind. So when they do go to decide who they're going to buy that fall, when they actually got to make a decision today, they can't wait any longer, you're going to end up at the top of first person they think of, and therefore automatically trust, because whoever they think of first, they think they trust more at that time. You're the default one at a higher rate than you would have been. So you keep showing further reasons why the product or service is great in those video ads. And again, if you want best results, I recommend 5 to 10 video ads. The banner ads that you do can roughly be on the same topics as the video ads. The video just gives the user, in case they go to YouTube, more than other websites, like news sites and stuff. You can get them there, basically. You get in your communication that you need to get in with them there. And respectively, if you hit them with a video and a banner ad that says the same thing, it's going to have you're going to have a cumulative effect that's going to get you a better overall effect on that user than if you just had it one by itself. Video is going to be more powerful than the banner ad by default. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do both, because the video and the banner ad together that both talk about the durability of your product as demonstrated and compared to your competitors' products there, like I talked about before, is going to be even greater than just the video by itself. If you're a huge company and you're doing video remarketing on YouTube, I'm going to do Skippable Instream still. Why? Because I can have company/product updates and specials in those ads. So respectively, if I'm selling Oreos, I'll have an ad that talks about I have new green and yellow Oreos. And in 15 seconds, I could talk about that, but I can do a heck of a lot more with getting a minute to talk about that new product, to engage the user who really likes Oreos. If my goal is to, when they get to the store next time, actually go and try that product, because you could show obviously in detail shots of the product and show basically what's the differences between that and the regular Oreos, so on and so forth. More of an effect on the user when they go to buy than what you can get done in 15 seconds as per our testing. On the other side of that, you could do specials. So ultimately, as I talked about the IKEA example before, you don't tell people about the specials you have on your product if you're trying to get people to your site in the first place and they're not a regular customer, let's just say. Once they are, I'm not going to try to convince users anymore with these bumper ads that we're the cool hip company that's the coveted brand in our space. I'm going to throw out there that we are actually having a couch sale, for the next 2 weeks, because I'm a person who normally likes to buy IKEA furniture, and this is going to get more people into the store than if you didn't have those ads running. So in general, you have customers, by the way, whether you're doing video remarketing, you're doing the banner remarketing, wherever you're remarketing, whether it's Facebook or otherwise, you either have basically 2 options. You can do the new products or updates about what you're doing there, or you run out a discount or like a free shipping, or you give them something that they wouldn't have normally got otherwise if they purchase an extra and a gimme there or whatever. Usually it's just a discount 90% of the time, because that's the tried and true what works as per our testing. You don't really have to screw around with too much other than that. Sometimes if you're in a technology space, you have a new product, I'm going to use the updates, generally speaking, because that's going to most of the time pull harder to get people back to the site than the special. Whereas if I have an everyday product and we're not an innovative company, let's say, that's changing too often, I'm going to do the specials to get people into the site or into the physical store if you have that. But keep in mind, as a side note here, the more times you get somebody to your site, the more likely somebody is going to buy. So if you get somebody to the site the first time, they might convert it like 0.5%, let's say. You get them back to the site with an update or special, respectively. So if they haven't been purchased from you yet, you get them back to the site with whatever. The rate in which they'll convert on the site on the second visit is higher than the first. It might go from 0.5 to 1%. Third visit might be, instead of 1%, it might be 1.75%, and it keeps going up. So the remarketing, the main goal of it, other than to, a lot of times they'll see the banner ads and it'll influence them without even clicking on the ads. And a lot of people don't realize this because they want people to click on the ad and buy, and otherwise it doesn't work. When more of the value is in them seeing the ad, reading it, knowing that, wow, they really do have, you know, these good reviews. I don't need to go verify it, but right in the ad I can see it. Respectively, if they have purchased already, if the more the game is, the more you can get them back to the site, the more that they're going to buy, you know, bottom line. And so basically, once you've got them to purchase, what you're trying to do is do anything you can to get them back to your site or to get them into the store. Offline businesses for years have used loss leader products. They lose money on a particular product to get them into the store to buy other things. Now that can actually be done online, and we've tried that and it's worked. But the update, whether even that doesn't actually generate any sales, you don't expect them to buy the new product, just the fact that you've got them into the store will get some people to buy something from you. And so you'd be surprised how much this matters. So your goal should always be having fresh video remarketing ads for the user, as more of that is going to get you people into the site more, and then therefore you're going to sell more. It doesn't just pull forward demand that is sales that are going to come anyway. It multiplies sales. It gets people that would like to buy from you but just haven't thought about you lately. This gets them thinking about you, and ultimately once they get to the site, it's one step further to a purchase than they would otherwise, and therefore you'll get a purchase, you know, more times than what you would otherwise. The fact that the remarketing, you know, the video remarketing only cost a nickel to get somebody to see the video to a customer who, if you got to your site, would probably convert at 1 or 2%. It's worth it generally every time you do this. But if you're a big company, I'm still doing the skippable in stream or running specials to as much as possible get people back to the site or get people into our physical store. If I'm getting people into the store, by the way, I'm doing tracking of in-store visits, which you can search that, but they have the technology set up now where if they see a video ad and they come into my store and buy something, I can see based upon how the mobile tracking on their mobile devices with them logged in, how effective one ad at least is over another. So as I go to make new ads every month to keep my video ads updated and fresh, so I actually can run updates and different specials, you give more people more and more reasons that are always new to come in. I can see which ones kind of work better over another, whether 10% off work better than 15, doing the split testing, and then, you know, constantly keep improving my results if I want to get the best results out of our remarketing as possible. And to wrap everything up, as I said before, remarketing is more about getting money that you use to profile people and get them to your site in the first place than it is a channel in itself that you should be looking at. You should be looking at what's the cost to generate a customer in terms of the first click plus remarketing, because the remarketing gets the first click to convert, you know, 2-3 times as good as if no remarketing was there. And that's a fact. So with all that said, now I still haven't talked about in-feed and in-stream ads. So as I mentioned before, in-feed ads are the ads that show up somewhere on YouTube where you have to click on them, usually the sidebar up at top, the upper top right, above the suggested videos. And the in-stream ads are the ads that show up within another video while you're watching a video, the normal ads that you think of. In-feed ads don't get near the action as in-stream ads do in terms of the click-through as well as the ROI, as I found. Therefore, I do the second ad type, i.e. in-feed, in all the same places in which I would do the in-stream ads to multiply what I'm getting from in-stream ads, generally speaking. So if I have, as you maybe watched on my other videos, there's a lot of times I'll target specific videos because YouTube lets you do it. You can say, of these 20 videos that review my competitors' products, I want my video to show up within those videos, as in-stream skippable in-stream ads. And if those work, then I'll try to target and they work well, really well, I'll automatically target people in those same exact spots with the in-feed ads to multiply my results. If the results are not that great, they're kind of borderline, I'll probably skip the in-feed ads to go with it, but if they're doing rather well, I'm always going to do the in feed to multiply my results, because you're going to get a few extra clicks from that same profile of person there who's in that exact situation, if you will, where you know that that person's likely to buy from somebody in our niche at some point in the near future, and you want to be the one, and you want to, by getting in front of them there, you'll get in front of them and get their attention and have an overall greater effect and impression on the user if they see the ad, and then they also can see it there on the sidebar, or see it on the sidebar first and then see the ad during the video. It multiplies the effect overall and gets a higher likelihood that they'll click to your site at all, which if they're highly valuable, you want them to click it to your site as high as you can to get as most sales as you can. But in general, that's a very high level overview of in-stream versus in-feed, and skippable versus the non-skippable or bumper ads. What you want to use, why you want to use it. There's a lot more to know about YouTube advertising. It's extremely profitable nowadays, even in 2022. If you haven't tried it yet, you can get other ads like Google search to work, and you definitely need to get into this. Google provides extremely good quality traffic that, if any traffic, as I mentioned, comes from Google, is generally very profitable, at least from their properties, because they understand their users more than anybody else, or should I say very well, and you're assured not to get fraud clicks because Google weeds out their stuff very, very well. So if you're going to start with anything other than search engine advertising, then or Google properties that they own is where I always recommend you start out. YouTube and using YouTube ads, and then the discovery ads in Gmail, or discovery ads being on YouTube and on Gmail as well. Those are and YouTube itself are the top places I'm going to advertise next, even before Facebook, because Facebook doesn't have the capability it had before. I'm going to go to next out of all the other kind of online advertising options that I can go with, if we're not counting Google Display Network and marketing to people who've been to my site already, i.e. remarketing. But respectively, that's about just as good as the YouTube remarketing and YouTube driving first click people in, and Gmail ads first click people in. They're about the same. So in terms of effectiveness. Anyway, that all said, hope you enjoyed the video. I have a lot of other content about other PPC money making strategies on this channel. You should definitely check out my other videos if you want to make money with PPC and you haven't yet. I have a blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog with step-by-step instructions on how to build campaigns that are virtually guaranteed to work, in which we guarantee results for our clients. And this is the way, and I've written the blog myself, how to do those campaigns set up the way that I personally set them up. If you have any questions outside of what I described here about these YouTube ad types, what you should start with, what you should use, how they work, so on and so forth, leave me a comment down below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel within a day or two. Apart from all that, hope you enjoyed again, like I said, and I'll see you on the next one.